Hello,
Yes,
welcome
sir.
back to another video on astrology. In this video, we'll be once again interacting with Dr. Y.V. Subba. We have already completed 3 episodes, and this one will be the 4th episode. This episode is part of the series Genesis of Principles of Astrology. And throughout the series, we have given a lot of interesting information to the viewers. And in fact, I went through the comments, for each of these videos, and I found uh, extraordinary praise showered upon Dr. Y.V. Subbarao. And for example, I'm just reading out, sir, the PPT skills of Dr. Rao are the best I've seen. Not even high-flying MBAs will have such superb presentation skills, etc. But very interesting. There are a lot more comments. If you have time, you should read the comments and see how lucky we are to have such a great person giving us a lot more information. And the next series that we are going to start is astrology and astronomy in religion and culture. This is going to be more interesting than the previous one. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you. And we're going to do a lot more videos with you, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
So you may take over, sir, from here.
Yes. So before actually putting up this slideshow on Rationale of Vimsottari Dasha system, I would like to answer the questions that have come so far of the previous video. I'll read the question and give the answer. One person has asked on black holes whether it is related to Shiva in any way. The black hole is a massive star collapsing on itself, on exhausting its fuel. A black hole is actually turns out. And a black hole has got a great gravity that even light cannot escape from it. And all the stars that are there in the universe will naturally undergo this fate slowly, one by one. And finally, when all these things actually collapse on themselves, that comes to the end of the universe. So the universe is eternal. It has got its own births and deaths, that is Hindu cosmology, and tallied with modern cosmology, that the universe is born, created, existed, and died, and again reborn. So this is a continuous process, not only in Hindu philosophy, in cosmology, but it's also proved in the modern cosmological models. So the whole existence of the universe is 12.96 billion years. And the first part, Pradhamaparartha, the active part is over. The second part is the Kshayakalpa, the great deluge. And the third one is Dviti Parartha, the second part of activity which we are now running.
Okay.
So this has got so many subdivisions, let us not go into it. And black hole has got nothing to do in any way with Shiva, because he means that black hole will naturally absorb the entire universe one day. He says that in the definition of God, G stands for generator Brahma, and O stands for sustainer Vishnu, and D for destroyer Shiva.
Okay.
So he only means that black hole is a Shivalinga or ancestry.
Okay.
In a way, it can be compared to, as one would like to have it, more revert to Shiva, because he completely swallows everything in himself ultimately. The second question is very interesting. From the ancient times, we have reference for 28 nakshatras, including Abhijit. And somehow Abhijit has been removed, and we have now only 27. What has happened to that Abhijit star? Why we are not reckoning it? Does any other star in our 27 also meet the fate at one day when what happens to astrology? Here, Abhijit is not a star of 4 paras like the other stars. It is just only a fraction, a portion of Uttarashada last part, and a very small beginning of Shravana. So, the Shravana part of it is only 1/15 of the 13 degrees 20 minutes during the extent of Shravana Nakshatra. So, this I can call it as Pushkaramsa in the very Shravana Nakshatra. So, this is only for 53 minutes and odd. So that is, Abhijit is by name called victory. Lord Krishna was said to have been born in Abhijit. His victory is he never faced any defeat. And Abhijit is not a star like other stars. It's only just the 28th one. And there is a great resemblance to it in Tirumala temple, in Balaji temple in Tirumala. The annual Brahmotsavam, starting at Chitra Nakshatra, concludes on the 9th Nakshatra Shravana. And the Shravana Nakshatra in the very early times, 53 minutes, the advent of Shravana Nakshatra, that within the 53 minutes, they discuss the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord is given a holy dip in the Pushkarini and then brought back with water dipping from it and kept on 2 poles at a height. People in reverence go underneath it and have these droplets of water trickling on them. They feel they are more good than blessed. So this is the Abhijit. Abhijit is ever victorious. It has nothing to do with the ordinary stuff. And another thing is, many of the viewers seem to be confusing about 27 nakshatras, we call it, but each nakshatra is not a single nakshatra by itself. The 27 constellations. A constellation is a group of stars. And in Varamira's Brihad Jataka, he has mentioned the number of stars that each constellation has. And we have all the 27 nakshatras together, have constellations have 243 nakshatras. Nakshatra is a singular body, whereas a constellation is an area of 13 degrees 20 minutes extent. The other one, they said, this Abhijit is also called astronomically, in Sanskrit, Abhijit. The equivalent term in astronomy is Vega. It is similar to Polaris, Dhruva. Just as Dhruva is placed, the legend is placed at the star, above the Saptarshi Mandalam, that is Ursa Major. We find Polaris is the North Star now. Astronomically, that is called the true North, which we as mining engineers also rely on it as the true North and lay down that direction at the mouth of the mine and then proceed with the underground workings. When the mines are deep, like polar gold fields of 2 miles in depth. Because magnetic north will not be correct, as there will be local attraction and it deviates from its direction. So Abhijit is also called more or less Vega, and in that Polaris, now today pole star, that is the Polaris, is the true north, and after 14,000 years, Vega will come back. So once in 26,000 years, the precession of the celestial sphere, we find Polaris and Vega, these two will alternate. So in another 14,000 years, we will have Vega as the North Star instead of Polaris. So Vega is as a great legend as Polaris. I have a question, hope it will be answered astronomically. There is a lot of confusion regarding Rāhu and Ketu exaltation points. That Rāhu in Gemini and Ketu, Sagittarius or Scorpio, can we get some clarity based on? From the beginning, I have been saying Rāhu and Ketu are not at all planets and they are not bodies, they are only intersecting points. The 2 points being joined through the earth are called the nodal line. These points do not, when they don't have any lordship of any signs, and they don't have aspecting power, and they don't have any body or anything, they are simply used in astrology, as they also modulate the sunlight and the moonlight, and especially in the eclipses. On Sunday, we are going to have a solar eclipse, and so such Rāhu Ketu will definitely come to play in such eclipses. Even earthquakes take place during those eclipses. So, in a book written by me on predicting earthquakes in Indian Peninsula, this is immediately after the solar eclipse, there will be a lunar eclipse in about 15 days' time, because sun remains there and moon will naturally move in 15 days to the other side. So there will be a lunar eclipse taking place. Therefore, immediately after these 2 eclipses, we find some earthquakes taking place in majority of the cases, but not always. So Rāhu and Ketu do not have anything of their own, and they don't have lordship, and they don't have Lordship, they don't have any exaltation signs. For the time being, let us rest assured Rāhu and Ketu do not have anything except that they are loyal planets to their own lords, the houses which they occupy. Every video of the Subba and Sir and Dhilip Kumar sir takes us to a different level and wonder at the way Rāhu Rishis come clairvoyance and the simple way both gurus take the knowledge to people seeking it. The clairvoyance of the ancient Hindus and more so the Rishis is everything is present for them. It's only the sinners who have the future, but saints have always the past. So they know everything. Everything is present. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, you fight the war and then kill all the people for adharma. Because I have already done that earlier. So in Vishwarupam, he has already shown the entire thing that they were dead. Just saw a pattern in Vibhaya planet colors, which I have shown last time, with a number of years with Vimsottari periods of planets. Not sure about missing 15. Maybe it is not worthy. Would like to request your opinion. Anyway, the doubt will be clarified now.
Very good, sir.
I have a question for you and Dr. Rao. When you calculate summer solstice and winter solstice, it is in June and in December respectively. This holds good for India. What about Australia, where the seasons are topsy-turvy? I mean, summer solstice is in December and winter solstice is in June. How would you derive a Rashi chart for a child born in Australia? Oblique ascension of the sun used for determining the lagna. The duration in each of the sun in each sign is exactly opposite in the southern hemisphere as compared to the northern hemisphere. So you take those readings and determine the lagna and direct the Rashi chart. The last one. Sir, I have two questions. Very grateful if you can please reply. Will coronavirus surely, at least by maximum March 21st, one famous Vedic astrologer predicted that by the year 2030, almost 90% of Earth population would be due to climatic conditions like ice age. Kindly shed some light. The uncanny ability of the ancients and the Vedic concept of time assures that nothing such thing would happen to our present time in Kali Yuga of 4,32,000 years extent, and hardly 5,000 years have elapsed since the end of Dwapara Yuga. So we need not worry about it, and we are only in the first quarter of 4,32,000 years. So whatever 5,000 years are over. So nothing would happen. A deluge or the end of the universe or population, some calamity may take place and may sweep away the lakhs of people, but it's not the end of the universe or end of the time period itself.
Okay.
So that's the end of the questions, answers part of it.
Okay, sir.
And before taking up the topic proper, the Rationale of Vimsottari Dasha system, I would like to inform the viewers that the Vedic astrology rests on the edifice of Vedic astrology rests on two vital considerations. One is the astronomically correct horoscope for astrological divination to see the fortunes and misfortunes of the natives. That is the chart. The other one is, then immediately the curiosity arises to know as to what is promised, both good and bad. Where do they occur? So we need a method for the timing of the events. Our ancients have given us a progression by means of the Vimsottari Dasha system. Here, whatever is promised in the horoscope, the chart, that is the static part of it. That's exactly the map at the moment of birth of the child. And that nothing moves in that. Some people say that tomorrow, in another 1 degree, the planet will move to the next house and become exalted. So there is no question of moving any further. Once the chart is prepared, it is once for all done. The only thing is the balance of the dasha at the time of birth is to be taken up. and the entire progression is to be made. Whatever movement that takes place in the progression takes place in the sky also, and we get the result. Therefore, Vimsottari Dasha system is given to us as a facility for timing of the events. So, in this, the Vimsottari Dasha system, there are many systems, Dasha systems in vogue, but all of them converge around the main one, Vimsottari Dasha system. There are as many divisions of Dasha system as there are divisions in the main chart. That is Hora, Rekana, Dashamsa, Navamsa, Shashtamsa, Shodashamsa, like that. So there are also number of divisions, number of methods in the Dasha system. But finally, this particular Navamsa for the Rasi chart and also Vimsottari Dasha system have come to stay. And they are giving excellent results, and that is being invoked for centuries old. So now I shall take up one by one. There are many questions that would be arising. The Vimsottari Dasha system consists of 9 dashas. There are only 7 planets, and we have 9 dashas. That means Rāhu and Ketu, they are not assigned any lordship. Still, they are concluded as having effect on the human beings because the houses they occupy, they oblige their lords, and they have certain similarities of Saturn and Mars, and therefore they give results and they affect the lifestyle of the person. With the result that Rāhu and Ketu are also given a share in the dashas, and they do have an extent. In Sanskrit, Ashtottari is called 108. We have a number of Ashtotrams after the gods and goddesses, Rama Ashtotram, Krishna Ashtotram, Lakshma Ashtotram, so on and so forth. 108 names are hymns in praise of the god or the goddess. Similarly, in Vimsottari, in Sanskrit, it is 120. Therefore, Vimsottari Dasha system is 120 years duration, is the Vimsottari Dasha system. And these are actually distributed at random as it appears, starting from 6 years for Ravi to a maximum of 20 years for Shukra or Venus. And all other planets have in between. They have their own share. Is it at random? Can anything be made a Shastra at random? It has got some meaning and some principles of astronomy going into it, which I would instantly explain by means of the show. So I am leaving the show and coming to you. Here is the title of the present topic, Rationale of Vimsottari Dasha system.
This is a much awaited topic, sir.
Yes, exactly. Before I actually get into the topic, I would like to recapitulate to the memory of the viewers about the various points that they can draw to understand the Vimsottari Dasha system. And actually, they all afford a sort of clue to arrive at this. So I call it as prelude to sequence and extents of dashas in Vimsottari Dasha system.
Wow.
So one is the Lordship of signs as the sun and moon for assigning 12 signs of zodiac among 7 planets. How we did that? So it affords a clue. Venus exclusively is an exaltation of signs. So we have discussed the exaltation of planets, and Venus is also found to be exalted in Pisces at 27 degrees. So we shall see how it would naturally afford a clue to us. Geometric symmetry in assignment of lordship and also in exaltation of Saturn being 180 degrees from sun and moon group. This also we have seen that there is geometric symmetry at every step. Geometric symmetry of Dasha years in classification of planets in astronomy. We have seen the interior planets are inferior planets and superior planets are exterior planets. And the grouping of sun and moon and Mars and Ketu in colors of planets. So in all these topics which I have dealt so far earlier, afford a clue to us to arrive at Vimsottari Dasha system, which I will be explaining in detail one after another. So the first one, Lordship of signs, grouping of sun and moon for assigning 12 signs of zodiac among 7 planets. Here these two are grouped together as one. Thereby the whole thing reduces to 6 units, 6 entities. the 12 signs are exactly divided by 6, leaves 2 signs for each of the planets. And this group also, which is clubbed as one unit, also gets 2 signs and further divided between them as one for moon and one for sun. This is how we have divided assigned the signs of lordship to these planets. So this particular thing affords us a clue. Here we have got 6 entities for dividing the 12 signs. So if you take Vimsottari Dasha of 120 years, divided by 6 gives 20 years for each planet, a Dasha period. And in Vimsottari Dasha system, we have Venus holding 20 years and all other planets do not have 20 years. So we have a clue there, 20 years for Venus. Here the 6 planets get 12 signs, 2 signs each. Similarly, 6 planets get 120 years and 120 divided by 6 gives us 20 years for each Dasha. In Vimsottari Dasha system, we have Venus having 20 years. So it affords a clue for us. The next one is Venus exclusive in exaltation of signs. In the exaltation and debilitation of planets, which we have considered in one of the previous shows, we find that Venus is exalted in Pisces here, 27 degrees. So Venus exalted in Pisces at 27 degrees is in 36th Navamsha. That means he will be again back at the same place. So in Varamira's Brahajataka it is said that a planet which is in exaltation in the Rasi chart is also exalted in the Navamsha chart. It is doubly powerful. And no other planet exalted in the Rasi chart is found to be exalted for that degree in this Navamsha chart, corresponding Navamsha chart. Therefore, Venus scores another point in the exaltation, and therefore he has already 20 years in the Lordship of the signs we have seen, and he retains that because scoring a point here of maximum power. The other one is geometric symmetry in assignment of Lordship of signs and geometric symmetry in exaltation of Sun, Moon and Saturn being 180 degrees apart. Here we have considered these two are Earth and Moon are together and treated as one group in assigning the Lordship of the signs. Earth is substituted by the Sun. So now these 6 groups, 12 signs, 2 signs each, and we have seen that. We have seen the geometric symmetry here, that Sun and Moon on this side, 180 degrees opposite is the Saturn, and these 2 consecutive signs are given to one planet, and these 2 consecutive signs are given to one entity. And here also we find that even in exaltation of signs, we have geometric symmetry. Sun and Moon have 2 consecutive signs, and opposite 180 degrees, Saturn has got the exaltation. So this geometric symmetry is being maintained everywhere. This is a clue for us in Vimsottari Dasha system. And the other one is the rationale of interior and exterior planets in Vimsottari Dasha system. Interior group of planets are those that are lying within the orbit of the Earth, and those that are beyond the orbit of the Earth are called the exterior planets or the superior planets. So the interior group has got 60 years, interior group Dasha years. From Vimsottari Dasha system, if you add up 6, 17, 7, 20, 10, we get 60. Similarly for exterior group Dashas, 60 years. So there is again a classification in astronomy as well as in astrology, and there is a geometric symmetry of 60 years on either side, balancing with the Earth here as the Sun as the fulcrum. Here in grouping of Sun and Moon and Mars and Ketu in colors of planets, we have grouped Rāhu being similar in characteristics to that of Saturn. So we have left it separately because he is in opposition to Aries at the time of Saitara Kalpa, and therefore he is kept separate. Whereas Ketu and Mars, South Lunar node and Mars, are together in the Aries sign at the time of the beginning of the universe. So they are grouped together. And Ravi and Chandra are also in Aries. They are grouped together. And so we have got 7 colors of the spectrum, and there are only now 7 entities. So the grouping this sun, this Ketu in the red zone and that of Rāhu in the ultraviolet zone does not matter, and it is only a question of similarities of these two planets, Rāhu and Ketu, similar to Shani and also Saturn and also to Mars. Now the second, from the beginning I have been telling that the whole of astrology subject is based on the solar, the electromagnetism, that is the sunlight which we are getting. And all the celestial bodies that are actually causing or affecting the earth and also enabling the flora and the fauna to flourish is the electromagnetic energy of the sun. So the electromagnetic spectrum of dispersion of light and Dasha of Vimsottari Dasha system is the main criterion here also in giving the Dasha system for timing of the events. So the dispersion of light, which all of us would have read in our school classes, in the lower classes, that when a ray of sunlight passes through a prism, it gets completely refracted and also it is deviated with the different colors emerging out on the other side of the prism. So this single white light is completely split into 7 colors. These 7 colors are called the Vibgaya simply as violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And there are different angles of deviation. Red is at the top, least deviation, and violet is at the bottom, near the base of the prism, that is maximum deviation. So there are 7 planets and only 7 rays here, 7 colors, and so we have got the 7 planets being given and here this 18 for Rāhu and again 7 this out of 14, 7 for Ketu. These two things are, Ketu is similar to Mars and Rāhu is similar to Saturn. They are also accommodated here because they too affect the lifestyle and also bring in fortunes and misfortunes to the natives through astrology, and they are also included in the Dasha system. So there is the light source and there is the ray of white light, incident ray, it is called the incident ray, touching on one side of the prism, getting refracted, split into this, and the other side 7 colors are emanating, separated by the angles of deviation, and there is the least deviation and the maximum deviation. Here also Venus gains the violet color that we will see in the next slide, that he gains another point for retaining 20 years, the maximum of Vimsottari Dasha. He already gained 1 point on the exaltation system and he gained 1 point in the maximum deviation. So these are all the electromagnetic rays going in to giving the colors to the various planets. In the next one, these colors are not taken and the deviation is put in here. So these rays that are emanating on the other side of the prism, the colored rays, are produced in straight lines. They all converge at 1 point. We find the angle between this first and second is only very minimal. That is between the red and the orange. Whereas between the red and the violet, the angle is maximum. That is theta is maximum for the violet. So red has the least deviation and this has violet has got the maximum deviation. So determine the position of north lunar node Rāhu and south lunar node Ketu in the solar system. Unless you fix these 2 nodes in the solar system, you cannot proceed further taking them for granted in Vimsottari Dasha system. Therefore, their positions in the solar system will have to be first fixed up. So at what distances should they be found? We know the distances of planets which we have already learned as said in terms of astronomical unit. Here I have put it. These are all the planets in the solar system. I have included Rāhu and Ketu also here as they are being used put there in those places in Vimsottari Dasha system. But I question, how can they be put here and here in the solar system without any rationale or logic? So I put a question here mark and question mark here to be answered. There are only 7 planets, and with the inclusion of Rahu and Ketu, it has become 9. And Sun, with the Earth, it is becoming 10. 0 is missing here. So we have to find out the distances between the planets in the solar system. We use the mathematics law in astronomy, that is the Titius-Bode law. In the Titius-Bode law, it is obtained by writing the numbers in series. We take up the series 0, 3, 6, these 3 numbers, and we find that 3 is multiplied, doubled, and made it 6. We complete the series as 6 double 12, 12 double 24, 24 double 48, 48 double 96. This is the Titius-Bode law in astronomy to determine the distances of planets. And by adding 4 to 0, for all the numbers in the above series, you get 0 plus 4, 4 plus 3, 4 plus 6, 4 plus 12, 4 plus 24, like that up to 100. Then dividing the series by 10, you get 0.4, 0.7, 1.0, 1.6, 2.8, 5.2, 10.0. By dividing each number in the above series by 10 to obtain the distances of planets in the AU. So this is the mathematical formula in calculating the distances of the planets by Titius-Bode law, it is called. And we arrive at the distances of the actual distances of the planets in the solar system. So these are all the distances of the planets in the solar system. In the previous slide, you must have noticed 0.4, 0.7, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 planets, 7 items here, starting from Sun. In the next slide, you can see, starting from the Sun 0, 0, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 only. So the 6th one is at 2.8, there is no planet at all. There is a planet here, Mercury. There is a planet Venus. There is a planet Earth, Mars here, and Jupiter here, and Saturn here. There is a wide gap between Mars and Jupiter. There is no planet. But in the equation, we got 2.8 also. At 2.8, there ought to have been a planet, but it is a missing planet in what is called in astronomy is a missing planet. There are many assumptions in astronomy. Either the planet has formed and disappeared elsewhere, or the planet might not have formed at all, or the planet has formed and then jumped into the other planet, Jupiter, and made it very bulky, bulging. So there are many reasons for it. Let us not go into all those details of it. So anyway, we know that at 2.8, there ought to have been a planet, but it is not there. So this place is called missing planet in astronomy. And our ancients have put in Rāhu at this point, missing planet place. After all, Rāhu is a shadow planet. Nothing is visible at 2.8. Here also Rāhu is not visible. So at 2.8, our ancients have put in Rāhu here. When Rāhu is put in here, we have to search for the position of Ketu. So the next question arises, if Rāhu is put in here, why shall we fix up Ketu? So 180 degrees away from him. So there is a geometric symmetry here. So here we have put in the Saturn moon here and Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. So when Rāhu is put in here, that is, Earth and moon acts as like a fulcrum. The balance you hold the center point in your hand, and on both sides you have got the 2 pans. So you have got from the central fulcrum, you have got after one planet, you have got Rāhu here. Similarly, after one planet, you have got Ketu here. The geometrical symmetry is maintained on either side of the Earth-Moon central fulcrum. So this is a 2.8 AU, and this will be about 0.5 AU. So this is how Rāhu and Ketu get fitted up in the solar system and back into and also into the Vimsottari Dasha system. So the sequence of planets, now we can put it. Mars and Ketu, because of the similarities, have been put in as a group, and then they are grouped together. 7 plus 7 years becomes 14 here, I have put it. Here also Sun and Moon, we are joining together. So that is giving us 15. There is an arithmetic sequence in the Dasas years of the Vimsottari Dasha system, if you arrange them in their values of the orders. If you start working from bottom to the top, Venus has 20, you have got Dasha years 19, 18, 17, 16. We don't have 15, but we are getting 15. And the other one is 14, we can get it by adding two planets Dashas, 7 plus 7, 14. But you don't get 15 for Ravi and Chandra, but that is 16 actually, but we are getting only 15. So this is the arithmetic sequence. Mathematically it is perfect. Right is borderline, it's perfect to have Rāhu and Ketu. But Ravi and Chandra put together, the entire extent of the Dasha periods are 10 plus 6, 16. In the division of the signs of the planet, the division of the signs of the zodiac, as Lordship amongst the planets, we have seen that Ravi and Chandra are combined together as a unit. Therefore, there are 6 units. And 12 signs are divided by 6 units, gives rise to 2 signs per each. So 120 years divided among 6, there will be 20 years. Only Venus has retained 20 years, all others do not have it. But if 20 is divided between Sun and Moon, you find they get 10 each. But Moon has retained 10, but not our Sun. Moon is always a time mover, which you have already observed in the orderliness of the sequence of the days of the week, sequence of the days of the Rāhu column, and the sequence of the days on which the Ugadi or the New Year starts. So everything, even in Vimsottari Dasha system, the balance of the Dasha at the time of birth is also determined by Moon, and therefore Moon is always the time mover and the time indicator, and therefore he retains the 10. So now we got one less for Ravi Chandra group, 1 year less in Dasha years. Here again I have put in, to draw your attention, that interior planets group Dasha years is 60, exterior group of planets is 60 years in Vimsottari Dasha system. This is actually Vimsottari Dasha system years. But we are falling short by 1 year. That I have put it here, 15 years for this. So we are adding 1 because this equation holds good from Vimsottari Dasha system. So again the geometric symmetry, 1 is added to this, and whenever you add 1 for 2 you as a group, the number should be even, and 10 is retained for Moon and 6 is for Sun. So the entire Vimsottari Dasha system is now laid out here. So in the descending order of Dashas, yes, based on the electromagnetic spectrum, this is 20 plus 19, 18, 17, 16. It was 15, but by correction in the previous geometric system, 16. And this is 7, 7, 40. So this is the arithmetic sequence. The sequence of Dashas and planets extends in Vimsottari Dasha system. Finally, we arrive at 17, 7 individually, splitting the 7, 7 here, Mars and Ketu. This is how we arrive at the various Dasha periods for the planets and the sequence of the Dasha system in the Vimsottari Dasha system. The sequence of the planets in the Vimsottari Dasha system is the same as the sequence of planets in the solar system, except for the inclusion of Rāhu and Ketu. Rāhu is already provided for, and we are providing the place for Ketu also. So the whole system is in accordance with the sequence of planets in the solar system. So nothing is left to chance in the Shastra, and everything is completely logical, rational, and unquestionable, and it's yielding extremely wonderful results with the Shastra. The last one I have put in here. All said and done, the Moon gives rise to all the 9 Dashas. Because that is the crux of the whole problem in actually knowing Vimsottari Dasha system. which Dasha comes first and which Dasha later. So at the time of birth, which Dasha are we born? So it is the moon's motion. The 27 nakshatras give rise to the 3 sets of 9 dashas. That is, each set of 9 planets, each set of 9 constellations give rise to 9 dashas. That is one constellation per one dasha. Each planet has got a dasha for itself. Therefore, starting to the moons, starting from Ashwini and moving towards Aslesha, it is completely 9 constellations, giving rise to 9 dashas. This is 1/3 of the entire zodiac. This is divided into 3 sets. So the first set of 120 degrees give rise to 9 dashas. The second set starts now. The moon moving through the second set from Magha to Jesta, the 9 constellation, it gives rise to again 9 dashas. The next one is starting from Mola, it goes to Revati, 9 constellations, you get the 9 dashas originating out of it. So the moon's motion in a month will give rise to the 27, the 3 times the 9 dashas thrice over. The next one is again the same thing, more detailed put in. The outer ring is first set, second set, third set I have put in. And the constellations here from Ashwini to Revati, all around the entire thing. And here I have put in the astronomical symbols of the 9 planets from Ketu to Shukra. Why did it start with Ketu Dasha only is another question to be answered. And what is this sequence? This is the actual sequence of the Vimsottari Dasha system. It is in accordance with the solar system, I said. But it starts, the Dasha period starts with only Ketu Dasha and ends with Buddha Dasha. In between lies all the other planetary Dashas. So why should it start with Ketu Dasha? Let me answer. Rāhu and Ketu are naturally the most powerful planets of all the planets because they are the most loyal servants to carry on the event of their lords. So they give the result of their lords more readily and in a more larger measure than their lords. So they are considered to be powerful by virtue of their position in their lords' houses. They don't mind whosoever is their lord. They are loyal to that particular lord whose house they occupy. In that sense, Rāhu and Ketu are naturally the strongest of all planets. And for your kind information, on the predictive side, I can say one more point, that when a planet is to deliver the best or the worst on the predictive side, if Rāhu or Ketu is housed in that particular planet's house, only that event takes place in Rāhu's period or Ketu's period, but not in the Lord's period. For example, Einstein has Mars in exaltation, and Rāhu also conjoined with him. It is in Mars Dasha he is recognized, but in Rāhu Dasha only he was awarded the Nobel Prize for his Einstein's theory of relativity. So the recognition has come in Kuja, being in exaltation for Cancer Lagna, aspecting the Lagna also. But he got the Nobel Prize and worldwide recognition as a renowned physicist only in Rāhu Dasha. So Rāhu takes on the credit to confer that more than their Lord. That's the loyalty of Rāhu and Ketu. So Ketu starts with, because it is the first in the solar system after Buddha, and so Ketu starts this entire sequence and finally ends with Buddha. So Ketu Dasha, the inner one is one set of 9 planetary periods, the another one is 9 dashas here, the 9 dashas there. This is all the colorful, this thing is only Ketu, Shukra and all. The moon also makes 360 degrees, complete one revolution, and he gives rise to 3 sets of the dashas. So it is immaterial in which particular set you are born. we are bound to have all the 9 dashas, depending on the span of life, how many dashas one will be naturally able to pass through. His span of life is a different person. So here I have put in another beautiful geometric symmetry and rhythm you can see for the benefit of the viewers. 9 revolutions of moon signifying 9 months of pregnancy of mother, giving results in the birth of a child with a horoscope of its own of all the planets, including moon. 9 days motion of the moon through each of the 3 sets, each of the 9 constellations gives rise to 9 dasas, starting with Ketu Dasha. Moon's motion through 120 degrees give rise to 120 years of Vimsottari Dasha. All the 9 dashas of Vimsottari Dasha system, that is 120 years, is considered to be the maximum span of life of a normal human being in Kali Yuga. It is multiples in other yugas, and it goes like that. So for Kali Yuga, it is 120 years. If we are able to pass through the 4 revolutions of Saturn, signifying longevity, we are blessed. This is the end of it. And finally, I have drawn a graph of the entire thing. The Dasha years in the y-axis and the distances of planets in the x-axis. Just out of my academic interest, I have drawn this, and the Excel curve fit. I find that starting with Buddha in the solar system, I have put in the Ketu Dasha here. These are all the distances according to distances of planets. And here these are all the years of the extents of Dasha years. So I have put in Buddha in this order of solar system. Buddha, Ketu, Shukra, Ravi, Chandra, Kuja, Rāhu, Guru. You find here a geometric symmetry in this also. Every planet at the crust, there is a lower value at the trough. So immediately after 17, you have a trough, a lower value, a valley, and a bigger value at the peak, 20. And at trough here, 6. And at crust here, 10. 7 trough, 18 crust. 16 trough, 19 crust. So here also you find the geometric symmetry, and this is the beauty of the entire system in the astrology, with astronomy based. And really hats off to the uncanny ability of the Vedic, the ancient Hindus in bringing out this. My salutations to all the workers, the ancient rishis, right from the Garga and others, right up to Varahamihira of our Kali Yuga in the 4th century. All deserve hats off from all the astrological and astronomical fraternity. So this is the end of the series, Astronomy in the Genesis of Principles of Astrology. So we have had several topics and seen how the entire subject of astrology is designed and how the entire zodiac is actually arranged, and the planets and the constellations having their share, and the Vimsottari Dasha system also for timing the events, and therefore we have a completely exhausted astronomy in the astrology. And astrology does not have astronomy alone. It has got astromagnetism, which we have seen in terms of electromagnetism. It has got astrophysics. It has got astrochemistry. It has astrophysiology, astrobiology. Everything in itself. What is not there in astrology, I am really surprised. It is the summum bonum of all the modern sciences and yet to come. And the findings are the inventions or discoveries in modern science is only a fraction of what is actually said in Vedas. That is the wisdom of the ancients. Hats off and salutations to them once again. So the next series to follow, Astronomy and Astrology in Hindu Religion and Culture. I really thank Dhilip Kumar and in giving me an opportunity to present myself to the viewers and get introduced to them. And I also thank my viewers for all the wonderful comments. Hope I am not bloated with that. And I still keep my humble low and continue to serve the society and this Shastra to the extent possible, till as long as it is possible for me.
You spoke so high about the rishis for their great wisdom and knowledge that they have shared with us, and we were so happy about that. And on behalf of the viewers of my channel, I would like to thank you that we are also equally, in awe for what you have done. It's unbelievable the way you have, connected the dots. uh, I think I can easily say that I'm even suspecting that if anybody knows the logics of why the dasha system was in such manner, you have. I think you are probably the first one to have revealed the background of this. If I maybe I am not sure whether somebody else had already dealt with this, but looks like you have been gifted to find out these patterns. And pattern finding is the greatest thing in astrology. I know that. And we are looking forward to the next series also.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for being with us and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, sir.
We have come to the end of this video. In case you have any doubts, please type them out in the comment section. And whenever I find the time, I'll answer them for you. And see you soon in my next video.